So this is the foreword to the 3rd edition, page xxii. By March 1976, when this edition went to the printer, the total worldwide membership of Alcoholics Anonymous was conservatively estimated at more than 1 million, with almost 28,000 groups meeting in over 90 countries. Surveys of groups in the United States and Canada indicate that AA is reaching out, not only to more and more people, but to a wider and wider range. Women now make up more than 1/4 of the membership. Among newer members, the proportion is nearly 1/3. 7% of the AAs surveyed are less than 30 years of age, among them many in their teens. The basic principles of the AA program, it appears, hold good for individuals with many different lifestyles, just as the program has brought recovery to those of many different nationalities. The 12 steps that summarize the program may be called Los Dos Pesos in one country, Les 12 Etapas in another, but they trace exactly the same path to recovery that was blazed by the earliest members of Alcoholics Anonymous. In spite of the great increase in the size and span of this fellowship, at its core remains simple and personal. Each day, somewhere in the world, recovery begins when one alcoholic talks with another alcoholic, sharing experience, strength, and hope. Now, the only things that I have highlighted on that page are, of course, that women now make up more than 1/4 of the membership, because in the first writing of the book, there was only one woman, and it kept growing and growing. And we now know that women are a huge population in our program, in our fellowship. And then my favorite is each day, somewhere in the world, recovery begins when one alcoholic talks with another alcoholic, sharing experience, strength, and hope. And now I've heard in the rooms, and my sponsor has indicated to me, the standard men work with men, women work with women. But at the end of the day, we are responsible when an alcoholic reaches out his hand or her hand. So I have introduced men to the program and introduced them to another man as a bridge. Because we don't want to say, go find a man or go find a lady and then have someone walk away and not come back. Anyone would like to talk on this page? Hands up. Wave your hands. Not much to be said on this page now, is there? All right, so let's move on. The foreword to the 4th edition, xxii. This 4th edition of Alcoholics Anonymous came off the press in November 2001 at the start of a new millennium. Since the 3rd edition was published in 1976, worldwide membership of AA has just about doubled to an estimated 2 million or more, with nearly 100,800 groups meeting in approximately 150 countries around the world. Literature has played a major role in AA's growth, and a striking phenomenon of the past quarter century has been the explosion of translations of our basic literature into many languages and dialects. In country after country where the AA seed was planted, it has taken root. Slowly at first, then growing by leaps and bounds when literature has become available. Currently, Alcoholics Anonymous has been translated into 43 languages. And at the bottom it says in 2015, Alcoholics Anonymous is in 69 languages. And I have a further note to that where 2014, it's been translated into 72 languages. As a message of recovery has reached larger numbers of people, it has also touched the lives of a vastly greater variety of suffering alcoholics. When the phrase, "we are people who normally would not mix," page 17 of this book, was written in 1939, it referred to a fellowship composed largely of men and a few women, with quite similar social, ethnic, and economic backgrounds. Like so much of AA's basic text, those words have proved to be far more visionary than the founding members could have ever imagined. The stories added to this edition represent a membership whose characteristics of age, gender, race, and culture have widened and deepened to encompass virtually everyone the first 100 members could have hoped to reach. While our literature has preserved the integrity of the AA message, sweeping changes in society as a whole are reflected in new customs and practices within the fellowship. Taking advantage of technological advances, for example, AA members with computers can participate in meetings online, sharing with fellow alcoholics across the country or around the world. In any meeting, anywhere, AAs share experience, strength, and hope with each other in order to stay sober and help other alcoholics. Modem to modem or face to face, AAs speak the language of the heart in all its power and simplicity. So for that, a couple points that I like to make is that, the language translation. This has been carried around the world and into all sorts of countries and communities, and it's being translated as fast as we can do it into languages and dialects, some which don't translate easily to English. I know here in our local area, we've got, I think, 30 different languages that can be signed out of our local central office. And like I said, in 2014, it was 72 languages, and I'm sure that's changed in the past 6 years and hasn't been updated to me. The other line I love is, "We are people who normally would not mix." When this was originally written, it was primarily men of a certain economic background and of a certain race that formed our membership. And now we come from every walk of life, every economic background, every gender or whatever gender you identify as. We are certainly the most inclusive organization on the planet when it comes to our membership. I host a Christmas dinner and it's like, there's people that have been homeless. There's people that work in corporate America, and it's like a big mix of everyone here. And I love that about this program. And C, what would you like to add?
Hi, I'm Ann. I'm an alcoholic. And so I just wanted to, it's just so impressive when you read these forewords. The program started out with 100 people when the first edition came out. And so in 2001, the program was like only 65 years old. And the influence had grown to the point where it was in so many countries across the world, and hundreds of thousands of groups and members. And it's just an amazing program, the way that basically it's spread by word of mouth. Essentially, there's no advertising, and so it's just an amazing program that it has grown the way it has, the speed of which it's grown, and the volume of people that this program has helped and reached over the entire world is just really incredible.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely. Susan T.
Hi, I'm Susan. I'm an alcoholic. Sorry, I missed you. I just wanted to go back to the page XXII, forward to the third edition. And was this by March 1976 when this edition went to the Alcoholics Anonymous was estimated more than. So what I have down there is what happened is Richard Nixon said that alcoholism was a disease at that time, and it was put into the DSM. So alcoholism was more accepted, right? And that's then when treatment centers started opening and that kind of stuff. So that's what I have about it mushrooming, right?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Grace? Oh, hang on. There we go.
Yeah. Hi. I just want to reiterate something you were saying just before, because that's what struck me so strongly. Was that, in a world where we experience such divisions We even see it sometimes in families. This is an absolutely amazing program because we don't really ever care or even want to inquire what someone does for a living. We don't care what their politics are. We don't care what their gender is. We don't care anything about that except the fact that they've expressed some desire for help to deal with this disease of alcoholism. And I can't imagine my life without it. I can't imagine what it would be like if I didn't have a place that was so inclusive to look forward to being at all times, that people listen to you, they don't go back and argue your point, they don't tell you you're wrong. Speaking to my sponsor and I say something that seems to be off the beaten path a bit, yeah, she'll bring me back. But overall, it's just a place of inclusivity. And I think that that's what's kept us going for so many years and why we keep growing and growing, because I don't think any of us found that kind of love and understanding even among our family members, because they just didn't understand the disease. Even if it was prevalent in our families, they didn't understand what it was. In my family, we just didn't like the alcoholic. We didn't like his behavior. And even, some of my siblings have not come into recovery. One died. And that's very sad because my one sister, who's in the program quite a long time also, we look back and we think, oh my God, what would our life be like without it? But you can't convince anybody else that they need it. You have to know you need that first step, and you need to have some place to go to get help for it. Thanks.
Thank you, Grace. Yeah, how many times have I been in a meeting and I've known someone for like so many years and they say something and you're like, I didn't know that about the person because we're just so focused on our alcoholism. Cynthia B.
Hey, everybody. This is Cynthia, alcoholic in Wisconsin. And I guess I'm just thinking about on the top of xxii, that first word virtually, and how that applies to today. And at the end there where it says modem to modem. And it got me thinking about how to reach, the still suffering alcoholic. How do we reach people who aren't online? And, I know my district has done just an amazing job putting together, getting our meetings online. The home groups have done an amazing job. But if people aren't going to the doctor, if people aren't, getting in contact with other people, how are they going to be able to find the virtual rooms now? And, I'm just thinking of the importance of our hotline. And so I think it's interesting because this page is showing look how forward thinking about being online, but at the same time, how do we find that population that can't be reached this way? So I don't know, that's got me thinking about calling my PI committee chair and talking his ear off for a while. So that's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you. And just on that, we've got in our district, we've got loaner laptops that are being lent out. And I know one person is actually letting another person come to their office and use an office computer an hour a day. And that person is homeless and walks to the office, sits there for an hour to listen to a meeting. So there's possibility. If there's a will, there's a way. And it's just we have to connect and look out for each other. Mel?
Yeah, hello, yeah, sorry. It was just the last couple of sentences of the fourth edition, the foreword to the fourth edition. It says that AA speak the language of the heart in all its power and simplicity. And I was just thinking that it's really simple message, but it's so powerful and the strength and hope that it can give to everybody, that we can all understand each other just from such a simple. Yeah, that was it.
Thank you. And I mean, if you look at that deeper, we let, we have this higher power that comes from within that, resides in our heart. So that's actually leading with our higher power when we're speaking the language of the heart too, right? Emily. Whoops. There you go. Where'd you go, Emily? Emily, did you want to speak?
Yeah, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, technical fun.
Yeah, we're playing tug of war. Emily, alcoholic. My last update that I have was that in 2017, it has been translated into 90 languages. That is all that I have on that, though.
Amazing. Thank you. Kelly B.
Hey. Hi, everybody. It's Kelly from Ontario, Canada. There's just a few things that I wanted to share just with this COVID and everything going on around the world. This really touched me here, this xxii on the 4th edition, just the bottom, is sharing with fellow alcoholics across the country or around the world. And that's exactly what we're doing now. And just like the other lady spoke of, AA speaks the language of the heart. And it's truly incredible on the silver lining for myself with all this going on and finding these online meetings, because it's truly heightened my recovery journey that I'm on. And with that heightening mine, it's also heightening the other women's that I work with. So yeah, that is what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, it's been commented to me that seeing all the different versions of recovery in different communities has really brought life to this program once again. Liz.
Hi, my name is Liz. I'm an alcoholic. I came in the program in 1986, and my very first meeting coming out of treatment was with 3 older gentlemen. And I was the only female, and I wanted to run back out the door because I was young. I was 31, and here I am, the only female with all these, these men. But I kept remembering what they told me in treatment was I had to go to any length for my recovery. And so I stayed, and to see now how the fellowship has grown, and there's just so many women, and thanks so much, Kim, for facilitating this meeting. It's just amazing how much it has grown, and how I know in treatment they were talking about how many women don't recover because of the fact of the stigma of a woman being an alcoholic back in the day, and how they had to hide in the closet to drink, and, how they had the man supporting them and blah, blah, blah. But now, we've got a fellowship here we got 114 participants on here, and it's just a wonderful thing. And, I'm just coming back, and I feel real alienated because I had decades of sobriety, and now I've been on a 4.5-year run. And a DUI got me back here, and I feel like a newcomer all over again. And I'm just really trying to plug back in and hope not to drink a day at a time, So I'm real grateful that you're here. And I've never went through the AA book. I've belonged to several fellowships. But this is a wonderful experience to be able to sit with you ladies and go through this. Thanks.
Thank you. Charlene.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wrote in my book after the last 2 people shared, that I need to remember March, April, and May for right now, 2020, this COVID pandemic, because this is what sober living looks like right now. And the ability that we alcoholics have to adapt, and I'm sure, it's kind of like kids. And one of the things going back to rehab, they told me is when you get sober, you kind of go back to the place that you first started drinking. So for me, that would be 17. And My ability to adapt so quickly to circumstances and situations is just makes me so grateful for my sobriety, and finding meetings like this where we actually are living what, you know, they were talking about in this Foreward to the 4th edition. We are living it right now, modem to modem, face to face. That's about adaptability into this. And AA speak the language of the heart, and it's all its power and simplicity. The only desire is to stop drinking. That's all we need. And so here we are coming together to adapt to this new way of living, really, like sober living still, but it's another new way that we have to do it. So cool that, you know, way back in the day still applies to us right now.
Thank you, Charlene. Crispy?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi. You know, what I was thinking about is you're talking about the modem to modem thing, as well, is not only that we're getting to see what AA looks like in other parts of the world, but I feel like it's really created a sense of unity in my recovery anyway, of not just feeling like I'm this small part. I am a small part, but not feeling like I'm in this small little area, that I'm actually a part of AA as a whole. I think that's been really beneficial to be able to get into Florida and the UK and everywhere and be able to be part of the large part of AA, which has been incredible. So that's all I had.
Thanks, Chris. Jeanette. There you go.
Hi, everyone. Jeanette, alcoholic. And I just wanted to share something that I had written on the top of the Foreword to the 3rd edition. Trust God, clean house, and help another alcoholic. And, you know, what a simple program for complicated people. And, you know, yet this is also a description of the steps that they'll talk about later on in this book. But, you know, I don't know what year I wrote this, but I thought it was worth sharing. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Nancy.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Nancy. I'm in New Jersey. I thought this meeting was based in New Jersey. My sponsee gave me the code, and I see we're from all over the place, and there are currently 115 people on this meeting, so that's pretty cool. But I just want to comment on this and taking advantage of technological advances. You know, my book is from 2001, so that's been a while. And I remember came down. I live in South Jersey now. My parents were living down here back then when I got sober. And I came down here with my kids on Easter. And I said to my mother, I said, I want to get home. I want to go to my AA meeting. And she goes, on Easter? And I said, AA never shuts down. And then this happened. And my home group is in a nursing home. So we were one of the first ones to shut down. And I went to a meeting that week and I mentioned, you know, I had gotten notice that another meeting was shutting down. I mentioned it at this meeting and people started to freak out. And I said, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if any other meeting is going to close down, but just before you have the rug pulled out from under us, have a plan. I said, the intergroup is already setting up a lot of online meetings and there are lots of other avenues. And I've been sober a few 24s. And when this all happened, it kind of felt like, oh my God, I feel bad for new people who are just coming in, you know, they're going to have meetings to go to and this and that. And honestly, I got myself hooked up on a couple of AA sites on Facebook. I've gotten links from a lot of different meetings. I've been getting to meetings with group that were in a location I used to live in. And like somebody had said before, I think it's kind of bringing us more together. And it's just working. And, you know, to not, you know, and I have heard a lot of people comment on how much they miss their meetings and that face-to-face. But this is exactly what we're doing here. And we don't have any physical touch or anything like that. But you know, meetings are part of my program, and it's so much more than that. It's the literature, and it's my higher power, and my sponsor, and my sponsees, and all that, the fellowship. And I'm married to somebody in the program for a long time, so I'm very fortunate. But it's really nice to see the faces I've seen so far and where you're from, and I think this is pretty cool. And AA really doesn't shut down, does it? Thanks.
Thank you, Nancy. Linda, I see your hand up.
I'm Linda. I'm an alcoholic. Can you hear me? okay? I am just so grateful that we have these Zoom meetings, because I was one of those when this first started with the pandemic, and as Nancy just shared, I'm from New Jersey too, by the way, how the meetings were closing down. I had my routine. Oh, I'm going here, I'm going to step meeting here, going to a big book here. And I am just so grateful that, the language of the hearts in AA, and how, no, AA doesn't change. And it's here for us all, and how Jeanette shared, trust God, clean house, and help others. That's our primary purpose. And I know with the few girls that I do sponsor, how I trying to work through the steps with them and get them hooked up to the Zoom meetings. And, like Nancy just shared, the newcomer coming in, this is the norm for us right now, and who knows how long it's going to be like this. I mean, I'm just so grateful we had this. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Lisa. Oh, you're Minnie Mouse again, Lisa. You were Minnie Mouse again. I'll try it one more time. Try. Nope, you're Minnie Mouse. Okay. Jen K.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jen, and I am an alcoholic. Thank you so much for having this meeting. It's awesome. I just wanted to, mention in the final report of the 2019, that's when, after the conference, they do a report out for us, and all the GSRs get it. It says that our big book, 80 years, is 71 languages. So I think this is a number that's probably pretty accurate. So I just thought I'd clarify it. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, Samantha W.
Oh, hi. Am I good? Here, okay. I just want to say, I have been down for women's meetings. So when I logged on to the regular meeting, I am here for whatever time it is for you in the morning.
I have to cut you off because your volume is your volume is messy.
You guys were doing one for women, and those first couple pages, I remember.
Okay, sorry about that, guys. Susan M.
Susan? Hi, everyone. I'm Susan, alcoholic. Grateful to be here today. I was reading the foreword to the fourth edition on xxii at the bottom paragraph, and I love that we are people who would normally not mix. I mean, look at us. We're from all over the world, and I love what Charlene shared about the adaptation of Alcoholics Anonymous, and then in the farther on it says, like so much of AA's basic text, those words have proved to be far more visionary than the founding members could have ever imagined. Can you believe that Bill and Bob started this, and then they went and saw Bill Dodson, and then all of a sudden it mushrooms into this? And who, even a few years ago, who would know that we would have to adapt to this way? And we're even getting newcomers. And so the strength and the fortitude of AA is shining through, and I'm so grateful. My first big book was given to me by somebody who didn't need it anymore, and unfortunately he's not with us anymore. But I need this like air. I need it like air. Thank you for having this meeting.
Thank you so much. All right, Lisa, let's try you again.
Hi, I'm a real alcoholic. My name's Lisa. Do I sound like a chipmunk? No. Okay. well, here I was, the keener me. I'm definitely a real alcoholic, but I'm a woman, so that I'm already a minority, and this is a woman's line by line. So I'm a woman, I'm a minority. I'm the youngest in my family, so according to Bradshaw, I'm the scapegoat. I happen to be Jewish, so today is the last day of Passover. We're celebrating the freedom from slavery. It's a 4-drink minimum for those of you that don't know, and this year our family got caught up after the first blessing because of this current pandemic. For those of you listening in the future, 2020 around the world was a time when we were forced to pay attention to this 4th edition's prophetic writing on page xxii, where it states, in any meeting, anywhere, AAs share experience, strength, and hope with each other in order to stay sober and help other alcoholics, which is now in our preamble. Modem to modem, or face to face, AA speak the language of the heart in all its power and simplicity, spelled appropriately without an apostrophe. And I also want to speak to the fact that in one of these 90 languages that the book has been translated into, Hebrew is one of them. There was a time when there were no alcoholics of my culture that admitted it, never mind came to do the process to recover from it. So many of my peers, cousins are dead because of pride, are dead because of being one among many. I was raised to be the best at stuff. And what I've learned in this process with women and men and transgender and bisexual and gay and queer individuals and people in transition, I've learned that me and all my ways of being sexual, all my ways of being human are addressed in this book. And the people who've recovered before me showed me that I am not unique, even with all those aforementioned individual ways that I identify. But the most important way that I identify is as a recovered alcoholic, a real alcoholic. And that's some progress I'm claiming today, because I know I'm a real alcoholic today, and I wouldn't have had I not studied this text and the 3rd edition too. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Joanne?
Hi, I'm Joanne. I'm an alcoholic addict. Hi. So I want to share 2 different thoughts. One is just all of these forwards. When I sponsor people, we read them, and I say, you know how people look at their genealogy, you know, what their ancestors did. And I say, this is our history. If you jump in and you're become a member of AA, this is your history, you know, and these are what people did. And we need to respect that, and we need to honor that, especially during business meetings where everybody's ready to, like, scream at each other and walk out and everything. I go, you know, they wrote these traditions for a reason, and they put up with the craziness, and they figured out some answers. We just need to read them and follow them, and we'll be okay, and our group will be okay. So that's one thing I want to say. The other thing I want to share is the language of the heart. You hear people online talking about how grateful you are to have, you know, these online meetings. But what we don't hear about the people that either don't have computers or don't want to get on. They don't like the internet. And how are they staying sober? And in my house, my husband goes to a meeting, a live meeting every morning, and he scrubs the tables down, and he scrubs the chairs, and he washes his hands, and he has his distance and everything, because in his belief that someone has to be there for the newcomer. And there's generally 4, though the other day, 2 homeless people, you know, who's hiding out in a person's, a fellowship person's car to, you know, be protected, ended up at the meeting. As much as I want to support that, you know, all that language of the heart and showing up for the suffering alcoholic, I've been scared. We're both over 60, and I'm scared. You know, he's going to live meetings. He's interacting with other people. And I'm also powerless over my husband. And I can't stop him. But I found that turning to people in the program and talking about this, there was a lot of like judgment. And I finally asked my higher power for some help because I can't stop him, and I'm afraid. And so Sunday, I just had a long talk with my higher power, and then for some reason, I got online with this group at 5 o'clock, and that was the topic about people still going to some live meetings. And I just broke down. I've been sober for 38 years, and I just broke down. And I said, I don't need anybody's judgment. I just need support. I just need support. And that's what this program is all about. There are people that they don't want to get online, but they want to stay sober. And so we have to honor how people are doing that. And it's God's will. It is God's will, whatever happens. And once I stopped fighting God's will, then I got some serenity and this year left, you know. And there are some people that just need that human contact to stay sober. And who am I to tell them that they're not? So I did try to get into one meeting locally, and they said, well, we decided we're only going to want 15 people. And I thought to myself, well, I think that's not going to be a meeting for me anymore, because that's not what AA is about, you know. And this online meetings have changed me. I want the excitement of sobriety. I want the deep joy of sobriety. I want the excitement of sobriety. And I'm getting it through, not necessarily the medium of the internet, but the people that I'm meeting through the internet that are modeling for me of how I can pick this up, this passion, this rejuvenation of how I would love my meetings to be, and just bring it home when we ever come out of our own houses today. So thank you for this meeting, and thank you, ladies, and I'll talk.
Thank you, Joanne. All right, Dottie on the forward to the fourth.
Hi, everybody. Dottie, the alcoholic. I'm so glad I can now participate, and I'm out of my work meeting. So this is just, you know, I'm now speaking for in the future, moving forward, for the part on the modem to modem or face to face. AA speaks the language of the heart. You know, when I first heard modem to modem, I'm like, this will never happen. We'll never be having meetings just on the computer, you know, unless you live out in, you know, somewhere in Alaska or high up in the mountains of Canada. And here we are today, modem to modem. And, you know, hopefully, God willing, when I have 20 years of sobriety and I have a newcomer who might be just 19 years old, and they know nothing of the coronavirus and what we went through in AA, we'll be able to explain how modem to modem worked just as well as face to face. And, you know, and we're living proof of it doing this step study right now, or this big book study, I should say, right now on the computer, modem to modem, looking at each other's faces, and we're staying sober. And it's just, you know, if Bill and Bob were alive today, they'd probably have the biggest smiles on their face knowing how far their program has come. And because of alcoholics like us, we keep making it work because, you know, the old saying is it works if you work it. So that's all I have to share.
Thank you so much, Dottie. Lacey, last one on this page.
Hi, I'm Lacey, and I'm an alcoholic. I've been having trouble with getting a sponsor right now.
Okay, can you save this for after we discuss this page? This is just a topic in discussion, and we're discussing the foreword. Is there anyone else that would like to discuss the foreword to the 4th edition, and then we will move on? Just going to scan all 5 pages. Everybody looks good. Okay, so that is the end of our discussion on the foreword to the third and the foreword to the fourth. Today's homework is preparing for reading the doctor's opinion. I'm going to post the set-aside prayer in the chat. I ask that you all say the set-aside prayer a few times over the next day or two until we meet again, so we can have a fresh experience in looking at the book. I will now end the